Hey y'all, I'm Emily, the Shady Grove Stitcher, and I love creating beautiful hand-stitched pieces. Welcome to the Pink Room, where I share my love of cross-stitch by showcasing projects I've completed in my quest to fill an antique cabinet my husband and I inherited from my in-laws.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm the Shady Grove Stitcher. Thanks for joining me today in the Pink Room for a just regular old Flosstube episode. This will be episode 17. The past couple of videos I've released were kind of atypical. So I talked to you guys a couple of weeks ago about digitizing your patterns, and that was wildly successful and very popular, which just tells me it's a hot topic in our community. I think it's awesome that people are trying to make these technological advances, even though we're not quite sure what we're doing. We're all figuring it out together, right? And then last week I was showing you just a behind the scenes as I was getting ready to do a project. And I just wanted to come back and just keep it original, keep it plain. So today I'm going to show you 3 whips that I've got kind of in progress. I've got one FFO, and then I want to talk about 2026 plans. I know it's only August, but I feel like I need to be planning now so that I'll be ready whenever it gets here. But I want to introduce myself first because of the digitizing video. And then also Pam and Steph shouted me out as their gold floss tuber of the week, which was wild. I just wanted to say hi and hello to all the new faces. I'm so glad that you're here. If you haven't gone back and watched an intro video, it's the very first one I posted. It's extremely awkward, but the Cliff's Notes version is, my name's Emily. I'm in my early 40s. I live in North Texas with my husband and my 2 dogs. By day, I'm a UX designer, and by night, I am a cross stitcher. I have a background in quilting, but quilts are big and they take up a lot of space, and I didn't have a place to store them anymore. So in 2020, I started cross stitching. I've always really just preferred handwork, and I've never looked back. So this channel is all about cross stitch. And I share with you typically one project a week. I do that largely because I'm not a particularly fast stitcher. I also like to focus on the details of the projects when I can. That was my tried and true plan in the beginning. I'm waffling a little bit. I've only, in my heart of hearts, I am a monogamous snitcher, but people said in the beginning that Flosstube would make you have more whips. And I was like, y'all are crazy. And apparently y'all were not crazy. I do have multiple whips now. And so now I talk to you about whips too. But the whole goal in doing this was this cabinet came from my in-laws, and originally it just housed supplies, which is not particularly pretty because it's a glass front cabinet, right? And I wanted it to have cute stuff in it, and I really want to change it out seasonally. I am a long way from being able to change it out seasonally, but I am making progress. So I'm taking you on that journey with me and showing you the projects that I do that I put in this thing. So that's what we do here. Let's get down to it. The first whip I will show you is, and I didn't bring the patterns. I apologize. I could pull them up on my iPad. There will be a lot of glare. Maybe I will do a pop-up. The first pattern I have is Stars. This is from Plum Street Samplers. Plum Street and Shakespeare's Peddler did a combo pairing, whatever you call it, when 2 designers do something together. They did this, and then there's an and sign and another little barn. It's called Stars and Stripes. This is Stars. I haven't yet done Stripes, and I made really great progress on this for a hot minute. I'm missing, there's a blue stripe that comes up here that says Stars, and there's bunting across the top, and then there's some quilt blocks, and then it's over. This has been awesome for evening work because it doesn't require a lot of thought. I just do it and don't have to count. And so I've really been enjoying all this fill work. And then I got tired of red, and so I've put it down for just a minute. But again, the pattern is Stars. I'm using the called for floss, and I'm stitching it on 36 count Almond Cream by Seraphim. I think it's Almond Cream. I think that's the name. I'm in a Seraphim club, and I got it. Almond Cream sounds good. So that's whip number 1. Whip number 2 is this guy. It's so long and skinny. I had it in a much larger frame. The whole thing fit in the frame, and then the frame was just a little unwieldy. I'll hold it closer for you. This is the Charming Stars Hollow pattern by So Charming Design Co. And if you're not familiar with Stars Hollow, it is the fictional town in which Gilmore Girls is set. So this is Lorelai's house, Luke's diner, the gazebo, the beginnings of the town church, and then the Dragonfly Inn will be over here. So this has been really fun. This is a kit that, again, you can get from So Charming Design Co. I will link it below. I will link the kit. You can also just get the pattern if you don't want the whole shebang. She ships it with 14 count Aida. And Aida's been interesting for me. So I typically stitch on like, here, I guess I could I'll try to position my head above it to make sure you can hear me. I typically stitch on like 40 count linen. So switching to Aida has been, I thought it would just be kind of like a blast from the past. Also, it came with the kit, so why not? The fabric is very stiff. And the positive to that is your stitches look so good and you don't have to worry about it being saggy in your hoop. She actually ships the kit with a hoop. I've got it in a Q-snap because I just like Q-snaps. So that's a positive. The negative is that it can be a little hard, or it was a little hard for me as a linen stitcher to get my thread through the holes of the Aida. It just felt like a lot. She ships it with a size 24 needle. So the needle plus 2 strands of floss plus the crunchy fabric was just a lot for me. And so we were talking about it and she said, have you tried a size 26 needle? And I was like, no, of course I haven't. So I gave it a whirl and it made all the difference in the world. So I'm not saying that to tell you about this pattern specifically, though, if you want to stitch it, it's a blast. But just if you're having a hard time getting your needle through your fabric and you didn't think to switch your needle to something smaller, you might give it a whirl because it never occurred to me. Anyway, this is the 25th anniversary of Gilmore Girls this year in October. So I just thought this would be a fun thing to do this year, kind of as a commemorative piece. And also I have my largest whip, which I'm going to show you in a second. And I needed a break. I needed a break from it is what happened. There's going to be a lot of white space at the top and the bottom. So I am considering charting the letters Stars Hollow and then founded 1779, which is what appears on the sign in town. I don't know where I'm going to land on that, really. I'm playing it by ear. I've charted the words several different ways. I haven't landed on a way that I really like it, but it has been a very fun pattern to do. If you haven't been to my channel before and you're not familiar with So Charming Design Co., Jamie's the designer, and Jamie's sort of like bread and butter is college campuses. She's based in Texas, and so she started with a lot of Texas schools. She's starting to branch out, and she actually, if you follow her on social media, she has polls so that you can vote on the next school that she designs. They make great gifts, whether you send the kit to somebody who's going to that school, or you have a parent whose their kid's going to that school, or maybe you want to stitch it for somebody who's going to the school. It's just really a lot of fun. So I encourage you to check her out because it's pretty awesome. Now, my big guy. This is Dasher and Dancer. This is by Hobby House Press. I am stitching it on 40 count Melting Moments by Fox and Rabbit. I'm using Weeks Dye Works. The color of the floss is Lily Pad. And we're doing this as a stitch along. I started it with my friend Carrie of Red Velvet Quilts. I lost her somewhere along the way, and we've divided this up into, I need to apologize to all of you. Some of these, I've never hosted a sal. I've never done a sal. I had no business doing a sal. I don't know why you guys trusted me on this sal, but here we all are. And I divided it into sections that were perhaps maybe not the best, okay? So if you haven't seen it before, the first month was this top bar the top bar and the big alphabet, and then the next month was like the little bar and the smaller alphabet. Those were kind of smallish, but then like the tree was one month and it was huge. Anyway, this is all of August and all of September, okay? You will not see this again until I have finished October, which is the giant band at the bottom, which those of you who are stitching along with me have said is a real beast. I'm not terribly excited about getting started on it. That's why I'm stalling with Stars Hollow. But this is what I have been working on for, we started it, I think in March, but maybe May. We probably should have doubled the time frame in which we did this. But anyway, we are coming to the end and my goal is to have it finished by the end of October so I can get it framed. It's a lovely pattern. Did I say it's by Hobby House Press? Dasher and Dancer by Hobby House Press. 40 Count Melting Moments by Fox and Rabbit. It came in the club. I don't think you can get it. The flosses, Lily Pad by Weeks. I think I covered all the bases. I am really bad at forgetting to tell you the fabric and the floss, and I apologize. Okay, next. Boy, we're just moving right along here at 11 minutes. Oh, my 20. Let's do the FFO first. Okay, my FFO this week. You've seen this before, unless you're new here and then you haven't. This is The Pet Store by Little House Needleworks. This is my first cross stitch project that I ever completed. I stitched it on 14 count Aida. It's on Zweigart Raw. It's using the called for DMC. And the first time I showed this, I showed it unfinished. There's a spider building a web. Could you excuse me for just 1 second? Thank you for your patience. That spider was rather large and I was like, I don't think you need to keep living here. I showed this as my first project and I showed it unfinished. I wasn't sure how I wanted to finish it. And so I finished it. This is a technique that is actually outlined on the Little House Needleworks website, okay? Now, she stitches her, she puts hers on foam that's a little bit thinner than mine. I'll tell you about the foam in a second. But this is no sewing, no gluing. It is a very easy finish. So if you're looking for something simple, I highly recommend this. Maybe it could use a bow on top. I don't know. But let me kind of break it down for you. So the way that she does it on a piece of, I think her foam is like 1.5 inches or maybe 1 3/4 inches, and mine was a little bit less. I just threw my pieces in the floor. I love Facebook Marketplace. I find some really great finds on there. Sometimes they're crafty things, sometimes they're decorative things in the house. Today I picked up 3 brand new 6-pound bags of poly pellets. They're normally $26 a bag on Amazon, and I bought 3 for $35, I think, brand new, unopened. So sometimes you can get a deal on things like that. I was looking for foam because when you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, you can get a brick of foam and it's like $5 to $10. Well, this lady was selling these giant sheets. If I still have my photo, I'll insert it. They were like, I think 12 or 24 by 36, huge sheets of foam. I think there were 5 or 6 of them for $10. And I was like, how could I say no? I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I bet I'll figure it out. So I took, if you've never cut styrofoam, okay, people will tell you to cut it with a serrated knife. And I tried and I don't recommend it. It's fine-ish. It's the foam that I used and the knife I used were incompatible. So I went to my husband's shop and I got out a handsaw, which is probably a little bit overkill, but you use what you have, right? So I used this saw and I basically cut an entire end. So if we pretend like this is rectangular, let's use this as our example. If this is our giant piece of foam, I just basically cut the end off and then I cut it in half that way. Went out to the shop, did that. I took some Aleene's craft glue. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Zhuzhed it in the middle, put the two together, laid it down flat, put a doorstop on top of it, and let it try to glue itself together. Did it glue itself together? I don't really know. I didn't hold it up and shake it and try to see if it worked out. I just thought, for good measure, maybe we'll do that. So I did that, and then I followed the tutorial for the more or less. I had to adjust her dimensions a little bit. So what you do is you take your piece and you lay it on top. So you lay this face down, right? You lay your fabric, your stitched piece on top, and you kind of, smooth it down the sides, and you take pins. Now, you don't take sewing pins with the big ball on the end because that'll look ridiculous. You have to get those applique pins, or they make some longer applique pins. And I'm sure that there are tutorials that tell you the exact pins to buy, but I just used whatever was in my cabinet. I don't know. Some plain pins without a head. Smoothed it down, pinned it. Smoothed it down, pinned it. Went to the backside, smoothed it down, pinned it. You get it? Okay, so now we've done the front. Yay, go us. Then you go to the back and you take fabric and you do the same thing. You lay it down, smooth pin, wash, rinse, repeat. Okay. Then you measure the outside. So I knew that it needed to be, I think this is 3 inches wide, 2.5 inches wide. I don't know. I didn't realize I was going to quiz myself later. I did this 3 weeks ago. I should have made notes. You take the band, and mine is actually bigger because you want to fold your edges in. That way you get a nice clean edge. You're going to cut a long strip that's long enough to go around the circumference, right? You cut it that long, and then a little wider than you need so that you can turn it in on itself. When I did that and I pinned it at the bottom, you can see there's a little seam. It'll sit so you won't notice it, but I put the band there, I pinned it twice, I wrapped it around, and I pinned it again. I have a photo, I'll insert it. It looked sloppy to me. It didn't have a nice crisp edge. It looked floppy, and I like a real crisp line. So I took the band back off, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we'll check her out here. I top stitched 1/8 of an inch away on the edge of the fabric. I used the same color thread as my fabric, and that just helped like smash the turned under part and the top, smash them together. Does that make sense? Probably not. We don't keep things very professional around here. If you're looking for professional tutorials, I apologize. So you can follow Diane's. She's got better step-by-step instructions than this jazz I'm telling you now. But that's the only thing I did different than she did it, was I top stitched that fabric so it had a nice clean edge. Now, she may have had ribbon, I don't know, but I got this lacy ribbon. It was honestly fine without it, and probably nobody's gonna see it, especially if I have it in the cabinet. But it was just a lot of green, right? And if I had done like a wired ribbon or whatever, then it could stand up and be pretty. That's why I don't have a ribbon or a bow on this, because it's cotton, and it's sort of like, and that's not cute. Nobody wants a sad bow, right? So anyway, if you were looking for a no sew, no glue, except for the glue I put in the middle, which you don't have to use, no sew, no glue solution, this was really fast and easy and pretty low maintenance and stress-free. And now I can say she's fully finished, and it was fun to try a new finishing technique. If I was doing 25 of these, would I do them like this? Absolutely not. That's a lot to store. It's very cumbersome, but I loved it. It was great. So that leads me to my 2026 plans. I'm going to do all the hometown holidays. For 2026, I'm actually going to do one hometown holiday per month. And if you'd like to join me, great. Maggie at Homemade on the Ridge was talking about starting them with me, and she's not committing to finishing one every month, but she thinks that she might start them. Basically, what I'm going to do is there are 25 patterns in total, and I'm going to pick 12. I'm probably going to choose the first 12 that she released, because let's be honest, I've met me. If I pick my favorites, then I will never go back and stitch my not favorites. So I think I will just pick the first 12 that Diane designed. I will put them in a randomizer, and I will every month come up with a random order. I say every month. Emily of August thinks that it will be every month. I might just go ahead and randomize the order and have it set for the rest of the year. I'm not sure. But that's sort of my plan, is to do one of those a month and then fit in other things as I can. 2025 was the first year that I have actually made stitching plans. I think it was. I don't think I had plans last year. It helped keep me on track. It helped me keep a good clip and a good pace and stay focused. It gave me something to look forward to, because sometimes when you're in the middle of the project, by the time you're like, this could be over and I would be happy, this needs to be over ASAP. You just want something to look forward to. And so it gives me something to look forward to. And I really like the structure of it. Why was I telling you that I liked the structure of it? Maybe it was just about picking the plans all at once. I don't know. It's been a day. So my mother, sidebar. My mom has some very formal red curtains in her living room, and she has slowly been trying to phase out the red because the red's a little aggressive. She wants things to be lighter and whatnot. And in my guest room, I have some curtains that are sort of a gold-ish color, yellowy, if you will, that have a red-ish paisley floral something or another design on them. And I was like, well, listen, I don't know if they'll work, but if you want them, you can have. I have some extra panels of the curtains in my guest room. And she said, oh yes, that would be great. So this morning I got up and went down to her house and we hung them, and I'm a little brain dead. I think I used all my brain cells for the day. So losing my train of thought. But telling you about Hometown Holiday leads me to haul, which is not really haul. It's more just trying to figure out what's going on with my life. So I reached out to Cheryl at Fat Quarter Shop and I said, hey, Cheryl, I'm trying to figure out what I can stitch Hometown Holiday on. They had just finished a sale with Fiber on a Whim. So the fabric selection that she had available was a little light at the time. And I was like, that's fine. That's why I'm starting now. So I have plenty of time to figure out the fabric I'm going to use. Again, this is on Zweigart Raw and it looks really good. This is ecru and it stands out really well against this color. It's a true grayish. But I'm not going to stitch them all on Aida. It's never going to happen. So I was like, what's the equivalent? We talked about it. She said raw might be good as a linen. I had also previously ordered some things from Needle in a Haystack in California, and they are very helpful if you've never ordered from them. And so I reached out to them and I was like, oh, hi, here's what I'm looking for. And they just off the top of their head said, these are some things that we think might work. So that's what they've sent. Some of them I got from Needle in a Haystack. They sent me fat quarters. Other ones I got 1/16 of a yard from 123 Stitch. So I'll just show them to you really quickly. This is 46 count raw. I don't remember. I have a list that tells me who the manufacturer is, and I don't recall. If you want to know, you let me know and I will figure it out for you. But this is 46 count raw. This is 40 count flax. Very similar, right? Very similar. One's a little bit darker. This is Newcastle Raw 40 count. This came from Needle in a Haystack. Now I'll show you this raw compared to that raw. I mean, we're splitting hairs, right? This one has a little more fleck to it. It does not look like that on camera. The other things they sent that I had never heard of before were, the color is Scriptorium Florence. I think this is really neat. It's just got a lot of texture to it, a lot of movement and tonal variation, which makes it pretty cool. And then this is 46 count natural. So same sort of deal. I mean, when you lay them on the table, they are all virtually identical. That's why I'm like, there's haul, but kind of not really. So my plan is when I stop dawdling, I'm going to lay all these out with the floss for Hometown Holiday, pick a linen, and then I need to order it because I want to order enough for all 25 pieces at one time. So we'll see how that goes. The outlier is this Vermeer blue, and I might stitch it on that. It's showing a little dark here on camera. But these colors, I think, would kind of pop on the blue. I think that could be fun. I'm just afraid it seems like, oh yes, today it seems like a good idea, but in 30 years, when it's an ornament on a tree, am I going to be like, why did I use all that blue linen? And I don't know. I don't know what 30 years from now, me is going to think. I am part of a Seraphim club, and this month they sent Buttercup. This is 36 count Buttercup, which I really love for a fall stitch. And then, because I can't get enough Fox and Rabbit, I'm in a second Fox and Rabbit club. This is 40 count Sandstone, also really lovely. And that's sort of all of the haul. Now, I hope that you hung on through that, because I want to talk to you about a couple of things that came out of the digitizing pattern video. So a couple of people were like, I very offhandedly, without much planning, were like, hey, after I digitize this stuff, I'm going to get rid of the paper patterns. Maybe we'll sell them here. And some people were very nice about it and said, I don't think you can do that. So I looked it up and just kind of want to educate you the same way that people educated me, in case you don't know, because I had no idea. If you buy a paper pattern, you are free to sell that paper pattern. If you buy a paper pattern, you can make a digital copy of that paper pattern. If you sell the paper pattern, you also have to get rid of the digital copy, which makes sense when you think about it, right? Because if you don't have the paper, you should no longer have the digital. I just didn't think that through. So I wasn't trying to be mean or rude or malicious. I wasn't trying to slight designers in any way. And if it came across that way, I do apologize. It was pure ignorance on my part. But I wanted to let you guys know what some of you were kind enough to educate me about, so that you're aware of it too. So if you are interested in digitizing your patterns, just kind of keep that in mind, because we want to be very kind and respectful to all the designers in our community. So that was item number one. Item number two, everybody was like, oh my gosh, Emily, this is so great. Thanks for helping or informing me or teaching me, or I didn't know I could do that, or I already have a spreadsheet, but I hadn't thought about adding this or that or whatever. That was great. And then y'all were like, what do you do about your fabric? I was like, I don't do anything. So a few months back, I bought a dresser. There is a closet in this room, and inside of the closet, I keep all of my crafty things. And there is a dresser that I use as a work surface / holder of crafty things, right? So inside of a deep drawer, there are two bins, but there are three bins. There's a small one that's basically like remnants and things I don't know what they are. There's a bin of 36 count, and then there's a bin of 40 count. And anytime I want to do a project, I have to go in there, I have to dig around, I have to figure it out. And it's like, what? On Flosstube, sorry. On Flosstube, I was watching a video, my friend Lisa, L Snaps and Stitches on YouTube, L Snaps on Instagram. She was with her friend, Katie, who is so tattered, S-E-W, tattered. And Lisa had gone to Katie's house and they were doing a Flosstube together. And Lisa was saying, oh my gosh, Katie's sewing room is so amazing. And I was like, well, I want to see Katie's amazing sewing room. So she did a sewing room tour and all of her fabric is hanging. That's not true. All of her quilt fabric is stored on comic boards. If you're not familiar, a lot of quilters will buy those like cardboard comic book boards or whatever, wrap their fabric around it and stand it up so that you can shop your stash just like it's a store, which lovely. But she hangs her fabric, her cross-stitch fabric, on a bar in her closet. Similar setup. It's like she had like a shallow closet and she took the doors off and now it's storage, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful storage is what it is. And she's got these she's got rings. She's got the rod and then she's got rings on the rod and then she has clips on the rings. So fabric, clip, ring, rod. I loved it. Fundamentally, it was great. So I kept looking for like drapery rod holders, and stuff. I don't remember what I searched. It wasn't going well. Here was my concern. I'm in a Seraphim club. I'm in 2 Fox and Rabbit clubs. And if I get new stuff, I want to hang all the 36 together, and I want to hang all of the 40 count together. And I want them to be sort of like in an order of color, right? So that like neutrals are together and yellows are together or whatever, you know. And if the rings are on a rod, you cannot take them off and move them around. That's not going to work. Or if they're there, you can't like add another one in the middle, right? So I don't know how, but thanks to my Googling, searching, whatever, I don't know what I fed Amazon, but anyway, it came back with boot hangers, okay? Boot hangers. And boot hangers are, well, I'll go get one for you. Hang on. Okay. Boot hangers are, oh, that's not a great look. I'm just holding this up so you can see something solid instead of, so the camera will focus. It's a hook, you know, like you would hang a hanger, right? But they have a little bit bigger clips, okay? So it's just a claw clip, but here's what I like about it. It's got these little rubber nubbies on the bottom, right? So my concern with, and if you decide that you want to be crazy and hang your fabric too, the drapery clips that hold curtains, some of them have little claws, and I didn't want my linen to be clamped by little claws. I wanted it to be protected. So I like that it's a little bit wider. I like that it has the little rubber doober jobby on it. And I like that I can fold it and then hang it up, and I can take it out and I can move it around or whatever, you know, whatever I want to do with it. So I have hung all of my fabric. So everybody who wanted to know, Emily, what do you do with your fabric? Okay, I am not going to create a spreadsheet for my fabric because I have no idea what a name means, right? I know that I have used almond cream, but I don't remember how almond cream is different from flax, is different from sand, beige, what, I don't know. So I like to shop my fabric whenever I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to use. I like to take my floss, I like to do a toss, I like to put it on the fabric and see what I think. So for me, it's easiest to just see what I've got. It doesn't mean anything to me personally when it's in a spreadsheet. So I'm not going to manage my fabric, so to say, the same way that I'm managing my patterns. I'm not going to manage my fabric in the same way. I just want to hang it up and see it. So I have hung it up so I can see it, and I will, somewhere in this spiel of me talking maybe multiple times, I don't know, I can't see into the future, I will show you what it looks like in my closet so that you can see how it's hanging. Now, I will say, I have 2 bars in my closet, one down low, one up high. And I had them on the down low bar because it was a little bit easier for me to get to. And then I figured out that my boxer, Henry, back here, Henry is like nose level with the fabric, and he's real good. He's not gonna pull it down and play with it, but he does like to sniff it. And when I caught him in there licking it, I was like, that's a no. So I have hung all the fabric up a little bit higher. That way it's away from snotty noses and tongues, because apparently that's something I have to be careful about, which I didn't know. So wanted to share that with you guys. I bought, I know I bought I think I bought 2 25 packs of these, and I think it cost me $20. I don't remember. I'll link these below if you're interested. I really like them. I do. So, that's it for today. Pretty short. Like I said, I thought it was time for us to do like a sit down. Hi, new people. Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. Get you caught up on my whips. Stars came out of the gate fast and furious and is kind of on the back burner. I'm trying to get the rest of Stars Hollow stitched up by the end of August, which means I got to hustle because I'm filming this on Friday. What's today? Does anybody know? Friday the 29th. And I would like to have it finished before the weekend. If I can get it framed, amazing. If not, fine. The words are a whole thing I have to figure out. And then, listen, I'm so glad we decided to do this. And I'm so glad so many of you were crazy enough to come along with me on this journey. This needs to be over. It does. This needs to be over. It is fabulous and I love it and I am so tired of it. But I will really enjoy it being on the wall. I also got a coupon from Michael's that they were like, hey, we have 70% off of custom framing. And I was like, ooh, pick me, it's time. And I don't remember the dates on that, but it would be extra neat if I could figure that out. I will say I'm a little freaked out. I've never had anything framed before. And I know that you can order frames at Hobby Lobby and at Michael's, and they will make the frame and then you can frame it yourself basically, which I think that there's merit to that, because then somebody is not going to take your stuff and they're not going to hurt it. They're not going to do it wrong. Like, you are kind of still in control of your piece a little bit, right? I kind of don't want to be in control of my piece. I want it to come back to me beautiful and like magic. So I'm having a bit of a thing there. But then on Facebook, I saw a lady took hers to Michael's and they framed it backwards. Like, she went and picked it up, and the glass, like when you're looking in the glass, you see the back side, which is, I mean, there's a very clear front and a very clear back. So like, what were y'all thinking, Michael's? Not sure. So I'm so nervous about having something framed. So thanks for coming and for spending time with me again. Y'all know I always love to see you and to hear from you. I appreciate you tolerating my different formats with the pattern digitalization stuff, and then the behind the scenes, just for something different. But like I said, wanted to get back to regular formatting. I need to work on, I've told you this before, it's still true. I need to finish Winter Berries and Pine. I need to finish Summer Swan. Maybe I will. I hope you have a great long weekend, and I'll talk to you next time. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.